So I got that. And most of the time when people see the cane when I'm out in public, they recognize and acknowledge what it represents, which is visual impairment. And for the most part, treat me as if I can't see anything at all, which is fine with me. It's really helpful, actually, because if I'm in a well-lit area trying to make my way through a crowd, I feel like Moses with this thing. I'll part the seas, baby. It's the only time you'll see me out in public with my friends and hear me say the words, "Follow me." All right, just a little bit more explanation. One thing that people assume with blindness is that it equals darkness, but for me, that's not the case. In fact, it's the opposite. In my peripheral, where I can't see at all, and in my central vision, where I can still see a little bit, it's flashing lights. Blue, white light, whether my eyes are open or closed, whether it's bright or dark, they're always there, always flashing. I never get darkness. So I'm always looking at the bright side. I got no choice. And it's easy because there's a lot of funny things that happen when you're partially blind and people think you can't see anything at all. One time I was down in Memphis, Tennessee with a friend of mine and we had some time to kill, so we wanted to get some really good Memphis barbecue. And I found a place that was about a half mile away from where we were, had a 5-star rating. So I'm like, hell yeah, we're going there. We pull up and it's a little tiny building off a service road, and when we walk in, half the lights are out in the building. Just a clear line across, no lights in half the building. We order our food, we chill for a minute, and I need to use the bathroom. So my buddy points me to the back where the bathroom is, and I start making my way there. And as I'm doing that, one of the employees starts yelling something at me, and I'm pretty certain halfway through a sentence she saw my cane, because what she yelled was, "Oh honey, there ain't no lights back. You good." I try not to mess with people, but it's really tempting sometimes. And a couple months ago, I was in Michigan and went to an art museum and could not help myself. About third room in, I'm in the art museum and third room in, I just start touching stuff. And they did not like that. And then I start seeing the way that people are looking kind of confused and a blind guy tapping through the art museum, so I just started talking bad about all the paintings really loudly. Whack. Amateur, I could do this. And then at one point, there's a 10-foot gap between paintings. I just stood there for about 5 minutes. This is nice. I wonder if we can find a print of this. I want to put this up in my living room. I am a musician primarily. I do a lot of different things in entertainment. I play drums, bass, keys, guitar, sing, write, rap. You know what all that equals up to? Poverty. Anybody ever been homeless before in here? Right on, I'm with you, man. I've never been like, live under a bridge homeless. I've been like, I have to move every 2 days homeless. For a while, I knew this homeless guy, his name was Gypsy. He hangs out in Kent. And some of the funniest stories with that guy, because he was a drunk. And like he'd be laying on the ground drunk outside, and the cops would try to get him for public intox, and he'd be like, I live in public. And one of the most like homeless ingenuity things I've ever seen happen was this guy got super drunk, wandered into the jail, into a cell, fell asleep in a jail bed, and they kicked him out and slapped a restraining order on him so he wasn't allowed in jail. Amazing. All right, I got a couple more stories for you. And these are all true, by the way. And this one is a story about a conversation I had with a friend of mine, one of my oldest friends, one of my best friends. He's a black man named Charles. He's from Cleveland, but a little over 10 years ago, he moved to Manaway, Ohio. I don't know if you guys ever been to Manaway, Ohio, but for the last decade, my friend Charles has been their entire black community. And I went over to his house not too long ago, and I was talking to him, and he said the strangest thing to me. He said, I feel like I'm racist towards other black people. And I said, what? What do you mean? He said, another black guy moved in the trailer park and it pissed me off. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, dude, these are my white people. I collapsed when he said that. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard. So I have a couple other blind friends. I've got one friend who has the same condition as me, and he's 6 years older, so I kind of get to peer into my future a little bit, which is fun. And I found out that we're used to hanging out with sighted people more often than not, so we're used to a lot of things like other people getting out of the way. So if me and my buddy are walking towards each other in a hallway or through a doorway, it's like playing chicken. But nobody ever moves. We just crash into each other. I got another friend named Luke. He's pretty much fully blind, and he makes the rest of us look really bad. Because if I'm out in public with my friends, they lead me around. I got my cane. They're getting me drinks and stuff, bringing stuff to me. Lucas, he'll go out and just put his cane down, start getting other people drinks, going in by himself. I'm like, chill, man. You make me look terrible. I'm gonna leave this space so I can put in laughter in the edit. And then my most recent blind friend, I was playing a music festival called the Freak Stomp Music Festival, and I was warming up, and he was like, "Who is that?" Sound checking, and his buddy was like, "It's another blind guy." So naturally, he had to come find me, and we hung out a lot. He was doing interviews with all the artists that were there, and we hung out a bunch, and then I was leaving in the VIP area, and I ran into this performer, Mike Pinto, and he was like, "Hey, are you the guy that was trying to get a hold of me on Facebook?" And I was like, no, but we played a show together a few years ago, so we just started talking about that. And as I was walking away, I was like, oh no, he thought I was Blind James, the interview guy. And so I ran back into James, I was like, hey, you run into Mike Pinto? He was like, no. And I told him what happened, and he started laughing, because he's like, dude, I was in the bathroom washing my hands, and somebody told me, nice set. So I guess us blind people all look alike, apparently. We'd never know. Last year, I was living in Austin, Texas, and I went to Boulder, Colorado to visit a friend of mine. And I was there for 2 weeks. It was a good amount of time where she was at work and I was just chilling at the house. And she lived in a big house, 6 roommates. They were all foreign students. And it was spring break, so all of them were gone except this one French girl. And her parents came all the way from France to visit her in Boulder. And I was just there chilling on the couch, playing the guitar, kind of minding my own business. They sit down about 5 feet away from me and all day speaking French. And I don't know any French, so it was a little weird. But I was thinking that in Austin, there was a few songs that I sing in Spanish. So I speak a little Spanish. And people down there love that. So I was like, man, maybe there's a song I could learn in French and maybe they'll like that. That would be cool. So I was trying to think of one, and I was like, Jack Johnson has that song Belle. And he says the word français in it. That's French. So I was like, I'll learn that one. So I started learning the chords, and then I started learning the lyrics. And there's only 4 lines in it. It goes like this. Linda, bella che fa, bonita, bonita che ta, but belle, je ne comprends pas français. You'll have to speak to me some other way. So I'm singing that for about an hour and a half straight, 4 lines. And as time's going on, I'm getting a little bit more confident. And I'm looking into the room, just kind of peering, seeing if I'm getting any reaction. I'm in here speaking French, they're speaking French. Maybe they'll react a little bit. And the best, like the most reaction I'm getting is the father is kind of glaring, borderline mean mugging. And then I was like, why is he reacting like that? And then I thought, I don't know what these words mean. So I looked at the translation and I found out the first 2 lines are not French, they're Italian and then Spanish. And the 3rd line is, Belle, je ne comprends pas français. Can any guess what that means? It means I don't understand French. So for an hour, over and over again, I'm just singing. You know, this is probably what they heard. Blah, 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 beautiful, I don't understand French, blah, blah. And then the girl who lived there, she spoke English too, so that line paired with you'll have to speak to me another way, 5 feet away from them while they're speaking to their parents in French all day, it's probably at very least irritating, I would say. And I found out there's a pretty clear moral to that story. No matter how innocent your intentions may be, life will put you in situations where somebody can still look at you and be like, what an ass. Thank you guys, I'm Blind Joe Wallace.